Hello, hello, hello. Welcome and thanks for clicking on that link to the latest in my series of my GMAT Speaks. I am presenting to us the fourth tool in the toolbox kit. And this particular tool is the one that we all have. However, it's grossly misunderstood, grossly misused, and grossly misappropriated. So I'm going to take us through a series of discourse on how we can harness this particular tool, sleep, in reversing and preventing chronic health conditions. It's going to take about 40 minutes. So please hang in there, fasten your seatbelt, and let's go on this ride together. Now, I'm going to throw in this particular phrase or this particular quotation or this particular understanding. And I have mentioned this in my previous podcast. I have said, and I'm going to say it again, that men who sleep 5 hours a night will have significantly smaller testicles than those who sleep 7 hours or more. And men who routinely sleep just 4 to 5 hours a night will have a level of testosterone, which is that of someone 10 years older than them. Essentially, a lack of sleep will age a man by a decade in terms of that critical element of health and wellness. And the same applies. The same equivalent impairments apply in female reproductive health caused by a lack of sleep. Today, we're going to dig and dive deep into the one tool in our synthesis toolbox that we do not need to spend a dime on to maximize. It is that one aspect of life that we all have access to, that we can use to totally reverse our health, reverse our chronic illnesses, and transform our lives when properly used. And in doing that, we will change our lives for good forever. I'm introducing the second S in our toolbox kit. And if you ask me, this is one of my favorites. I douse on this pill literally every day. It is the one pill that I consider to be more important than diet and exercise put together. Now take note, the next statement that I'm going to mention, in that next statement lies the key or a key to both health and wealth multiplication. And what is that statement? A quality sleep is the best medicine for all stress or all stresses. I advocate and believe that at least 90% of all doctors' visits are stress related. So as we delve into creating and listening to the 5-minute podcast, which I'll be creating around the sleep pill, which happens to be the fourth tool in the synthesis toolkit, I like to remind us of what I mentioned during my launch on the 15th of February in Burj Khalifa. I would like you to please listen to that podcast. It's on my website, www.gmashspeaks.com, or you can go through www.georgemashigo.com or straight into my YouTube channel, George Mashigo. I did mention that I would like for each of us to have 3 things on our minds whenever we listen to any of my GMASH Speaks series or podcasts. And these 3 things that I would like for us to have and to always consider And now, in respect to this particular podcast, these three things are this. 1, what do we know about sleep? 2, what do we need to know about sleep? And 3, what can we do with what we now know about sleep? Have those 3 elements behind your mind as you go through my podcast. So let's get into our synthesis toolkit, our toolbox kit. And in this instance, we're going to talk about sleep. It's 9 tools in the toolbox kit, and this sleep tool or this sleep pill will create in us new conversations, which ultimately will give us success, bring us success, which takes us to optimal 5-star health and wealth. This is the one tool you cannot ignore. Okay, so here we go. Hang on in there. I will make a bold statement here as we go into this podcast on sleep, which I have highlighted there. My bold statement is this: our sleep quality is more important than our diet and exercise put together. What sleep does for us in both our minds and our bodies combined. I mean, for decades, I have put my life in the hands of medical practitioners. And by this, I mean doctors. And they are one of the nicest beings. So I'm not having a dig or a stab at them. I'm in no way having a go at them. However, I have come to realize through my chronic illness recovery and reversal that I will need to take the destiny of my life and health in my own hands to achieve what I want to achieve as optimal health. Now, why do I say this? Why do I say doctors are the nicest of beings? And why do I say we need to take into our hands our own lives? Doctors are taught in medical school how important sleep is for health. They are taught the cognitive and physical functions and the benefits of sleep. Yet, they are some of the worst offenders when it comes to depriving themselves of sleep. So throughout my Speak series, especially in this instance, to do with sleep, I will be sharing and touching on tools and knowledge that I made use of in losing about 25 kilograms of weight, most of it being weight which I had acquired around my abdominal section. I was abdominally obese, and things are used in cleaning my liver in order to reverse my fatty liver and restore my energy levels. Let me chip in here by mentioning, I'm not sure if we are aware of this particular incident where a 42-year-old CEO in a blue chip IT company passed away, despite the fact that he had a top-notch diet and exercise routine. He had a very healthy nutrition regime he was following, and I will assume he had a very optimal lifestyle in terms of the elements of health. However, there was one thing he was doing wrong. It so turns out that he was habitually catching just about 4 to 5 hours of sleep over an extended period of time. Now, that was the cause of his death. Manipulating the REM and non-REM aspect of sleep could be just what you need to recover your health. By REM, I mean rapid eye movement and non-rapid eye movement. I'll expound on that more through my series of 5-minute podcasts. Do we know that catching a 30-minute nap, afternoon nap, might just be what we require? Or taking coffee a certain number of hours before we sleep could be what we are doing wrong or what we need to do right. Our belief in this tribe is not the quantity of sleep you get. It is more of the quality of sleep that you get. What rhythm are you adopting? What is the consistency and what is the regularity of your sleep patterns? I have found out through my own personal health journey how we can effectively manipulate sleep to enhance and improve on our health. So here is one of my questions. Can we create in this tribe a fully re-socialized environment? Can we create a tribe of people who discuss and adopt sleep quality as opposed to sleep quantity? How about naps, like I mentioned earlier? How about coffee naps? How about alcohol? How about exercise? How about sex? How about meditation and stress? Just to mention a few. How about if you manipulate these elements I've just mentioned now? How do they affect our sleep? And how can we manipulate them to optimize our health and quality of life? So, we are going to look into sleep. We are going to look more into how possible it is that we can achieve optimal health. Now, is it possible that one of the reasons why we do not have optimal health is because we are weary, we are troubled, we are burdened, and we are stressed? Is it possible? My favorite book says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Is it then possible that the reason why we are using or visiting doctors a lot more and taking more pills than the most recent 2 decades, we're taking more pills than meals themselves? Is it because we have taken to an extreme Arnold Schwarzenegger's position on sleep? Arnold, the Terminator, as is widely known, is on record to have said, we have 24 hours and we only sleep for 6 hours. So 18 hours are remaining. Some people say they sleep 8 hours. For them, I have only one message: sleep faster. That is what Arnold Schwarzenegger stands by, sleeping faster. He doesn't believe in 8 hours sleep. He doesn't believe in 6 hours sleep. He believes in sleeping faster. Do we know that unlike a financial debt, sleep debt cannot be paid bang at once? You can't pay back a debt which you owe in terms of sleep. I do not believe that a marathon sleep can repay for the lost sleep that we've had over a period of time. Neither do I believe that we can save sleep like we can do when it comes to money, and then use this sleep later for a time when we need more sleep. In my opinion, in my belief, that cannot be done. However, I've got good news. And the good news is that we can re-socialize and reprogram our minds and tell our bodies that over the next few months, the next few weeks, the next few years, depending on how far the rabbit hole we have gone with sleep decadence, and also the ill effect of sleep depravity and the toll it already has taken on our bodies. Over the next few months, over the next few weeks, over the next few years, we will be able to reverse certain damages and havoc created in our bodies. That, I believe, is possible, and I'm going to take us through that. So you may have heard the maxim that you can sleep when you're dead. Well, that maxim is something we ought not to take casually. It is mortally unwise. It is mortally unwise advice. And in that respect, I would like to share another simple truth that we habitually take for granted. And here is the truth. The shorter your sleep, the shorter your life. Short sleep predicts all-cause mortality. And if by increasing your risk for the development of cancer or even Alzheimer's disease, if that was not sufficiently disquieting, it has been discovered that the lack of sleep will even erode the very fabric of biological life itself. And what's our biological life fabric? Our DNA genetic code, which is hidden in our chromosomes. It will influence, affect, and drastically reduce our chromosomes. Now, in my own instance, through effective and careful application over the last 3 years, I've been able to lengthen my telomeres. And telomeres will be, it's like the shoe, the ends of the, or the shoestring cap on the end of our chromosomes. If you look at our shoes and the strings, that cap at the end, it's exactly like what our telomeres are like. In my own process, in my own situation, I was able to reduce my biological age by at least 15 years. And I did that by lengthening my telomeres. Now I'm targeting to constantly reduce this with the support of this new tribe that we are forming. And this is my challenge that I've put to myself. It is my challenge to add an additional 6 months every year, so that in the next 50 years, I will have reduced my biological age by 50%. It is possible. It's just a matter of a reprogrammed mindset or a new set of habits or a new philosophy where the mind becomes the general and the body is subject to being the soldier. And in doing this, as a group, as a tribe, we will be on the path to optimizing our health and drastically reducing our visits to the doctors and reducing the amount of pharmaceutical nonsense, those petrochemical nonsense that we douse on a daily basis. We can do that as a tribe. There are so many reasons for how we can do this, and I will share them with us. I will take us through this series by series. Remember that when you think good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. Now, I can go on and on and on about sleep because it's a science that I use to reverse my chronic illness. An illness that has taken so many into the dark orbit of cancer. In my own case, it was an illness that would have taken me to liver cancer. Now, the one thing I would like to close on when talking about this fourth pill, the sleep pill, the fourth pill in our toolbox kit, is to let us know that the one big key to effectively using sleep as a health recovery pill is that a proper and regular circadian rhythm needs to be adopted. We need to create a sleep pattern that we repeat every day. We need to rewire our minds, take out the old lifestyle choices that we've adopted over the last years, 10, 15, 20, however long you've adopted that particular pattern, and then develop a circadian rhythm that will be the norm as opposed to being the exception. I'll give an instance. Go to bed at, say, 10 p.m. every day and wake up at, say, 5 or 6 a.m. the following day. When you make that your rhythm, you will begin to experience a new oneness of being. We know that we can burn 55% more body fat when we are well rested and have an optimal rest and recovery period. That is when we adopt a new pattern and do it every day. Essentially, we will give ourselves a chance to and for optimal health. As part of the Senses Toolkit, I will also share with us how we can use sunlight, which is the next S that I'll be talking about, to maximize our sleep and improve on our health quality. Sunlight, guys, is for free. Before I close on sleep, do we realize that the first aspect of our lives that suffers when we do not sleep well is that of our health? It suffers drastically and affects other organs of our bodies, organs that then start failing as a result of inadequate or inappropriate sleep. If you are taking a petrochemical drug to aid your sleep, guys, think about this carefully. You are taking a drug that will speed up Alzheimer's disease in you. I did mention in one of my podcasts that the baby boomers and generations after baby boomers will be the worst hit with Alzheimer's disease. It's predicted that 1 in every 3 will be affected by Alzheimer's disease and other neurological illnesses, as we depend more on all this petrochemical nonsense that we swallow every day. Again, if you are taking a pharmaceutical drug to aid your sleep, think carefully. Think carefully, because those prescribed medications have an effect in our bodies. And for them to have an effect in our bodies, it means one of two things, or actually two things. It means that we have a natural drug, mostly an hormone, or a hormone that the body was using to facilitate quality sleep. That's the one thing. The second thing, it means that the pathway for that natural drug has been severely compromised and made ineffective. And the more you take those petrochemical nonsense, the closer to a total body breakdown we are heading to. Long-term sleep deprivation has been linked to some other serious health consequences that we surely do not want in our lives or in the lives of those we love. These include, however, not restricted to illnesses like hypertension, diabetes, obesity, depression, heart attack, cancer, and stroke. Your cognitive functions decline as well. It is not all gloom and doom when you tune in here to my series of speaks. We do understand that a lot of the health issues that we are currently experiencing as a people today, they are not our fault. In this particular tribe, we do not blame you for having an ill health. No, that's not the essence of this series. We rather hold your hands up high till you can negotiate the bend and drive yourself into a wealth of health. For me, that would be success. From my experience and from my observations, I have come to the conclusion that most people don't realize their sleep problems could be the major catalyst for other health problems that they are experiencing or that they might get to experience in life. It could be a dormant issue, it could be a salient issue underneath the radar that we are not experiencing. However, if you are not manipulating your sleep quality, if you're not using sleep in a qualitative manner, then either sooner or later, you're going to have certain issues, certain health problems surface. I am well aware because I was on that same path. There are consequences that will follow if we do not pay attention to our sleep. These are states of being such as you you begin to exhibit, you begin to get grumpy, or you're not fun to be around, or you begin to suffer with your relationships, decline in work productivity, or you begin to exhibit and suffer higher stress, which then makes you eat more. And when you eat more than required, guess what happens? You get food stored as belly fat. You become more obese. You are prone to getting cancer. You get depressed. And these are but symptoms of a bigger underlying health problem. Are we aware, and this is some of the things I actually picked out during my research, are we aware that WHO has classified nighttime shift, that's nighttime shift work, as a possible carcinogen? Meaning, working at night when you're meant to be asleep can actually cause cancer. Yes. We will share with the tribe how quality sleep can make us lose weight faster, how having quality sleep can prevent cancer, decrease pain, okay, make us perform at a much higher level, and make us have more energy throughout the day. And if you're married, like in my case, I'm married, how sleep can make you satisfy your partner sexually without the aid of the blue pills, which in themselves, after you use them for a period of time, an excellent use could lead to cognitive functions decline. Why? All because you do not habitually have quality sleep. I'm not talking about having 8-9 hours of sleep. No. Even if you had 5 or 6 hours or 7 hours of sleep, if that is your genotype, if that is your mold, then let's make it qualitative sleep. Now, from my 10 years in the telecommunications industry and my 20 years in the IT industry, I will share with us how much technology, such as computers, iPads, TVs, microwave ovens, smartphones, even the light bulb, electricity, how these elements have crept in to destroy our health and will actually pose yet more health risks and shorten our lives should we not equip ourselves with proper applicable knowledge. It's one thing to have the knowledge, but it's another thing to apply the knowledge. We are about applying the knowledge. Well, tune in to GMASH Speaks in order to hear what this bloke, this guy who had liver fibrosis, this guy who had chronic fatigue syndromes, otherwise called CFS, this guy who had fibromyalgia. Listen to what I did over a 3-year period to effectively reverse these illnesses. Remember that I had liver fibrosis, which was a step away from liver cirrhosis, which if my liver had gotten so scarred at that point in time, you really can't reverse it. The liver is the one organ in the body that replicates itself. Okay, and what we don't know is that we as human beings can have our livers functioning at 33% of its capacity, and we think we're okay, but we are not. I personally believe that we can live longer and healthier when we sleep better. I believe that if each of us will just clean the front of our porches, the front of our homes, I believe that we will have a clean world, a healthier world. So as earlier mentioned, and as I regularly state in my introductions to the 9 tools, I will be sharing a series of podcasts on sleep information that I've learned from others, information that I have personally used in my life to reverse my chronic illness or illnesses. This sleep series will create a discourse in our minds about how we can optimize our lives, change the narrative in our lives by using the sleep pills daily, so that we ensure that we manipulate and use the knowledge that we share to create and rewire our minds in order for our minds to become the general and our bodies become the soldiers. When you think good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. Please check my website www.gmashspeaks.com or www.georgemashigo.com, and also tune into my YouTube channel, George Mashigo, for the podcast that I'll be serializing. I'm going to talk about epigenetics and eugenics next, and that will take us through to the fifth tool in my toolbox kit. We are going to progress through these 9 tools, and once we are done with epigenetics and eugenics, sunlight, sex, education, and empowerment, then we will have achieved a general feel of these 9 tools in the toolbox kit, and then we will delve into having smaller 5-minute podcasts. I know it's quite daunting to listen to 30 minutes or 40 minutes of this guy just rambling, but bear with me. I need to lay a good foundation for the building that we're going to have to build and live in subsequently. So I'm going to round up now on this particular sleep pill series. Thank you so much. We have now covered sleep, and I'm going to be introducing the next in our toolkit, and that will be we have next up epigenetics and eugenics. You don't want to miss this, guys. It's going to blow your mind out of the water. Thank you so much. Have a good day, and God bless. Bye.